Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hey there, this is Glenn Ambrose. Welcome back to Life, Lessons, and Laughter.
You found a new spot for the Ambrose pause.
Yes,
I like that.
Yeah.
Welcome back to... What is the name of my podcast again?
Life, Lessons, and Laughter with Glenn Ambrose, your host and yours truly.
Let's get the laughter out of the way right out at the top here, because we are going deep. We are going deep
into forgiveness.
Into the misery of... the misery that you can come out of with forgiveness.
Yes.
What was the thing you said last episode? That, I don't know, I said I did a doomed voice afterwards.
Oh, like that if we don't learn to forgive, we're going to be living a life of misery?
Yeah. And I'm laughing, but that's definitely true. And I think we covered the bases of forgiveness, and we set a good foundation for the conversation last episode, and then at the very end we got kind of deep.
Yeah, and we stumbled right into a pattern of something that's underneath forgiveness, and that is that nothing is personal. There's one book I read years ago, and I've read it again since, is The Four Agreements. And it's such a great book because it's.
I'm very familiar with the Four Agreements.
Are
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, because you mentioned it every personal training session for a year and a half.
So you finally read it?
No. I'm very
familiar with the title.
I'm familiar with you reminding me about the Four Agreements.
Oh well, maybe someday you'll read it. It's a good book.
If they have it on Audible, I will download it.
They do.
Then I'll download it.
Okay. Yeah, it's by Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's a small book. It's an easy read, and he kind of comes at the same basic thing in several different ways to drive it home. And it's 4 basic agreements, and one of them is that nothing is personal, and that's something that we need to understand in forgiveness. I mean, somebody can look right at me and go, "Glenn, you're a jerk." That is not personal. It's something that's going on within them. And when I say that and I use myself as an example, a lot of times other people can go, "Well, yeah, I guess I kind of understand his point, And then all of a sudden somebody looks at them and says something. They go, "Yeah, but they looked right at me and said it." It's because our emotions get caught up in it.
Ready? Do it to me.
No, I can't.
Tell me I'm a jerk.
No.
Do it.
Ben, you're not a good person. That's close as I can get.
See, I don't take that personally because I know that the real reason you were doing it is for a bit on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I even had a hard time saying that. Just
That's weird.
I know. Well, I taught myself not to lie, even white lies in situations so it felt very uncomfortable.
I'm trying to remember the other 4 agreements now. Let's give them a plug.
Oh, if I can. Let's see. Off the top, I know them, but don't take anything personal.
Always
be impeccable with your word.
Be impeccable with your word. Always do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. Oh my God, now I'm having a brain fire. I'm so locked onto this forgiveness thing. We better go back to forgiveness, or else I'm going to embarrass myself by not knowing what the other two are.
I think that the audience will forgive you.
You think
for
so?
Embarrassing yourself.
I hope so. Please forgive me. Find it in your heart, especially Don Miguel Ruiz. I think your book is wonderful.
Do you think he's a fan of the show?
I hope so. If he's not, I hope he will be.
If he's not, do you forgive him?
I do, because I know it's not personal.
It's not personal.
No. And even if somebody doesn't like the podcast, it wouldn't be personal. It's just their particular taste.
All right, let's go back to being impeccable with our word and going back to what we said we were going to talk about today, which is forgiveness.
Yes.
The thing that I asked I threw out some rapid fire scenarios at the end, and I threw a pretty heavy scenario on at the end, which is just to sum it up, if someone was the reason for the death, whether it be negligent, probably negligent. Let's just go negligent.
Right.
If someone was had a negligent responsibility for the death of a loved one, that is like a ridiculously heavy.
That's a very difficult thing to forgive.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know,
and you said that there were steps. You would have to do it in
steps, and honestly, the steps are pretty. They would be personal to each person, and they would be very specific to that person. You know, it depends on what emotions were coming up, what the situation was, what that person needed to make get. Like, there's different things that people believe, and there's different perspectives that they need to shift to, and everybody has different perspectives. You know, this is another thing that Don Miguel Ruiz spoke about in his book, and that is that everyone is a sum of their experiences. You know, we are a sum of our experiences. So some of the decisions that we make are based on experiences coupled with our personalities. That's how I understand it. I believe he talks about experiences, and I'm not sure if he brings in the personality aspect of it, but I made sense of it in my life because my sister and myself were raised in a very fair household, but we received things very differently. So I take my personality and mix them with an experience, and her personality and mix them with an experience, and we can come out seeing it two totally different ways. You know, so everything that happens to people builds on it, and then they play small parts in our decision-making capabilities. So I can't even completely comprehend why I make certain decisions that I make. You know, if I can't remember that there was a 1/16% of my decision-making capability on something based on something that happened to me when I was 8. I don't remember that. I don't know how it affected me and how it built off of that. So since I can't completely comprehend my decision-making capabilities, how can I comprehend somebody else's decision-making capabilities? I can't. You know, so if I can't understand what they went through and why they made their decisions, then I don't have the full picture. I don't have all the information available for me to be able to judge them. You know, and that's one way that we can not take things personally, to understand that the reasons that people are making the decisions that they make have nothing to do with us. And they don't even understand half the reason why they're making the decisions. So how could we, you know? And that, a lot of the not taking things personal is understanding that ignorance is to blame in, like, especially the situation that you just brought up. I mean, if there's a situation where you take a person who, because of their negligence, goes and kills another person, that negligence was based in ignorance. You know?
Yeah.
It was based in ignorance, and that even applies if the murder, let's say, let's take it all the way to murder. If it was murder, it was premeditated murder, that was still based in ignorance. Because for some reason, that person that committed that murder actually thought that murdering the other person was a good idea, when obviously it wasn't. So that's ignorant. That's ignorance. You know, if you think killing somebody else is the right thing to do, that thought is based in ignorance.
Sometimes it seems like the right idea.
Yeah, when you can't forgive. You know. But that's really it. That's taking it all the way to the extreme. You know, it's that. And if you look at it from that place, and that doesn't mean that they're not responsible for their actions or they don't deserve punishment, or I'm not saying that. You know, we blend it together. We do this with tons of things. We blend two things together to blur the line, to make us feel self-righteous. So the fact that ignorance is to blame does not mean that murderer should be running the streets and not punished. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying, But that's what people will do to preserve the right. Well, no, because then they'll go kill other people. No, yeah. I didn't say that they shouldn't be punished. What I said was that their decision making was based in ignorance. So therefore, the ignorance is to blame. If they didn't have the ignorance, then they wouldn't have done that. That's a huge pill to swallow, especially in extreme situations. And in extreme situations, I like to take examples of people who have actually handled it. I have heard stories of people whose children got killed in car accidents going to the jail and forgiving the person that did it. All kinds, it's been on the news. It's happened over the years. People have been able to reach that level of forgiveness to do it. Yeah. Now, and I mean, if you look at those people, the level of peace that they have within them is amazing. So we have to be able to, especially when we're in the middle of a hurt like that, and then you've got somebody like me that hasn't experienced it, say, you know what, this is how you need to look at it. They're like, yeah, right. So the first thing that I try to do is hold an example of success out there and say, well, what about this person? In this situation, I would research it, find a story, and maybe even get them in contact with that person, because they've been through it and they've been able to reach that level. We have to know that it's possible in order to be able to walk towards it.
Also, holding resentment, holding anger and hatred for that other person does nothing for you. Does absolutely it doesn't bring the loved one back.
No.
It doesn't, and forgiving them doesn't mean that you are okay with it, or that you
approve of it.
That you approved of the situation.
No, not at all.
Or that just
it's just a situation where you go, you know what, that was a situation where ignorance was in charge. Ignorance was in charge of that situation. That person didn't know better than to override that ignorant move. Why? I don't know. Why do the stars look the way they do? I don't know why. What happened?
Gas that's burning very far away from us, and by the time it reaches us through our atmosphere, it looks like tiny little dots of light.
I can't believe I let you go on with the whole explanation of that. I had to see how far you would go with it.
Either, because I was looking at you in the eyes, going, "I got nothing. I don't know if I can really explain this."
That's probably why I let you go, because I just wanted to see if you would crash and burn on your own. Oh my god! You held it together pretty good. So was that complete fib, or was that true?
What
you just said about the stars?
It's kind of they are burning balls of gas.
Okay, so that's true.
And yeah.
Okay, all right. Sounded good. I don't know.
They are massive and gigantic, and
all right. Let's get off the stars.
Yeah. Well, you asked. I can give you a little. I did pass astronomy.
Well, that makes one of us. So, yeah, we're not going to understand all the reasoning behind, that's the other aspect, honestly. If you get that ignorance is to blame, then you might be able to start understanding that you don't have to understand everything. We're not going to make sense of unsensible situations. It's like when somebody commits suicide, everybody goes, oh my God, what were they thinking? And then they have long discussions to figure out what they were thinking, as if they're going to come to some conclusion of a clear thought pattern that would make suicide okay. It's like, no, the whole point was that the person wasn't thinking clearly. So to try to make sense of what they were thinking is an oxymoron. It can't be done, you know? So, and it's the same thing with a lot of this,
That's got to
the
be the
ignorance.
harder. That's got to be the harder one.
Making peace with that.
Yeah, I feel like if someone else does it to a loved one, you know, whether it be negligent manslaughter or like murder,
Right. Then they're the victim.
Right. And you know, it's easier to cast blame and everything, but it's also more, I think, possible to forgive. But if the loved one were to take their own, like, then you're...
It's tough because then you got to forgive them, you know?
I'm glad we did the bit about the stars and the other stuff to joke around, because this is deep. This is heavy stuff. This is too much.
It's tough, and it's, you know, but this is the big stuff, and like the bigger the issue, the bigger the lesson, the larger the rewards. It's like that. Like I said, if you see somebody who is able to forgive something really big like this, the level of peace that they walk around in the rest of their lives is amazing, because they're able to do the work. So they're the rewards that they get and the level of peace that they're able to walk in is just amazing, and it's worth it. You know, the other thing too with the work, I feel like I've been saying this often lately. I feel it's important to get out there. Is that the work that I always talk about doing? It's not really work. It's once you start. In the beginning, it's work. You have to kind of get sick and tired of being one way, and then put some effort in and really try to open up and see things in a different way. But then once you start breaking through that and you start seeing things in a different way, and then all of a sudden you get the rewards that it gives. So then all of a sudden you get the relief and it feels good. Then you want to go apply it to other things, and it's exciting and it's fun and it feels good. And that's why I keep doing it. If I had to wake up and go work on my life all day, every day, oh my God, I'd be freaking exhausted by now. Yeah. But, you know, it's not. It's exciting. It's fun. It's joyful. When I'm in a difficult situation and I'm at peace through it, I'm psyched. I'm like, this is awesome, you know? So that's why I continue doing it. But we do need to be free of that anger and that blame of another person. Yeah. You know, it's when you get free of that, it's the peace that you're able to walk around in. It's, you know, it's blissful. I mean, it's wonderful.
So now we're going to go to a new thing that we're going to do every episode, which is a quote.
Ooh.
A quote of the day.
Nice.
And they're going to be topical most of the time. And today's, I think, goes really well with the last two episodes about forgiveness. So it is, you will know that forgiveness has begun when you recall those who hurt you and feel the power to wish them well. Louis B. Smedes?
Sure, I think I've seen that name.
Smedes.
I think I've seen that name before, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Anyway, you will know that forgiveness has begun when you recall those who hurt you and feel the power to wish them well.
Yes, and that's actually a very good way to work towards forgiveness too. You know, if there's somebody that you're walking around with anger towards or resentment towards, you can pray for their happiness. You know, for they say 2 weeks and you'll notice a difference. You know, and I mean I've done that in my recent past where there was a situation where I felt that I was being attacked, and I was, you know, I started feeling like the victim, and therefore for a little while I was able to just I was good, and I was doing I wrote some forgiveness statements, about 5 or 6 different forgiveness statements, just kind of recentering my mind around forgiveness, that no one is to blame, ignorance is to blame, and that this person is doing the best that they can, and that, what was the other thing? There was one other thing that I wrote. They're doing the best that they can, and I had to forgive any actions that they took out of frustration or anger. That their ignorance is to blame and not them. So I would read these things every morning, and I got myself in a good space, and I was in such a good space with this situation that I stopped reading it for a while. And then all of a sudden, this situation reemerged in my life, and I was like, all of a sudden it started getting to me. I started getting irritable. And I was like, wait a minute here. I don't like this feeling. What do I need to do? And I was like, you know what? I stopped reading that forgiveness. So I started reading it again. And within a couple days, I was completely at peace with the situation. And I still take the action to deal with what's going on. And the situation is still going on. I've spoken with this situation to my life coach actually today, earlier, and with somebody else this weekend, because some of it was going on when I was with them. And they were like, wow, you seem very at ease with this situation. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good with it, But that's because I'm practicing what I'm preaching. I'm practicing the forgiveness. I'm practicing understanding that even though it looks like there's attacks made at me, it's not about me. They're doing the best that they can. And you know what? Sometimes my best isn't that good. Sometimes I have bad days and my best isn't that good. Some days I have great days and my best is wonderful. And everybody else is like that too, So when I remember that my happiness is my responsibility and that nobody is to blame but ignorance is to blame, and that we're all doing the best that we can, and everybody is a sum of their experiences meshed with their personality, and that I can't fully understand it, and then top it off, reminding myself that forgiveness is about me and bringing peace into me and not about letting the other person off the hook. Then I can, do what it takes to forgive, pray for that person, send them unconditional love, and wish the best for them. And then I receive it. I receive that feeling of peace. And I can walk around in that peace because I forgave them and that I'm no longer harboring that stuff. So I can still look back on those situations as matter-of-fact situations. So I can still learn from them. I can look back and go, okay, well, I remember when this person did that to me, and I have to make sure I don't leave the door open for somebody to do that again, maybe in a situation, or, but it doesn't have that emotional charge. It's just matter-of-fact. It has the same emotional charge as if I went to the store and picked up a pack of gum. It's just very matter-of-fact. It happened. It's over. I can learn from it and move on with my life. And that's when you can move on. When that emotional charge is released, you've forgiven, and you can go on.
Whew. Well.
And breathe.
I feel a lot better.
I'm better.
You brought us into a deep, deep space the last 2 episodes, Glenn. Heavy talk with this forgiveness.
It's like a crevasse. I think I caught him off guard with a crevasse.
Oh, man. All I can think of is there's something that I watch that is a thing where you have to crawl into the crevasse.
See?
I don't remember what it is.
That must be why I said it. Because I don't know when the last time I used the word crevasse.
Oh, man. Do you have anybody you'd like to forgive on the podcast today?
No. No, I think I'm good. I've done my forgiveness work. So I don't... Seriously, I want to think for a second.
Yeah,
I
go
don't.
ahead. I mean, don't leave too much dead air, but.
Well, now I have to forgive you for saying that.
I'll just give a lesson about stars while you're.
But yeah. No, really, I don't think that there is anybody I need to forgive. There, you know what? There is one little one that just popped up. I'm not going to say it on the air, though. Well, it's personal. And my forgiveness will be personal, too.
Yeah.
Unless there's some sort of action I need to take. But that's actually, I'm glad you did that, because it's, I'm opening my new space and getting everything in there, and, obviously a lot going on. And so I'm walking around with this little thing that I need to do some forgiveness on, completely unconscious of it. But just taking that moment, say, geez, is there anybody that oh, yeah, there is one. And it's a very minor thing. It's really no big deal. It happened a little while ago. But yeah, there is a little bit of resentment that I have towards somebody. And now I'll do it. But that's all it takes, is a moment to
live consciously.
That almost sounds like something we've heard before.
Yeah, I say it every episode.
Yeah. Well,
because I am guiding everyone in this podcast.
You're such a guru.
I am a guru.
A guru.
I am a... Yeah, that's great. And I'm thinking about it now, and nope, I'm good. I'm perfectly zen.
I think that might be, should we call it a fib?
No. I don't lie. I don't speak untruths.
That's why I said the word fib.
I am completely...
To sugarcoat the lie word.
Completely fine. Where can people find you?
People can find me in their ear, in their headphones, listening to my podcast. Oh, my God.
Do you take nothing seriously?
I do.
It's the plugs, man.
It's the plugs. Yeah, I know. I'm supposed to leave these plugs. I'd rather talk about forgiveness.
Okay, we've talked about forgiveness for an hour now.
Okay, good point. All right, so everybody out there is good. They know that it's not about the other person and all that stuff.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, but if they would like more help and more information on this or about any other topic in their life,
then I'm your man. And you can find me. It's life-enhancement-services.com. My Facebook page, Life Enhancement Services, or my personal Facebook page, Glenn Ambrose, or my new place, Glenn Ambrose's Life Enhancement Center. Get that. Glenn Ambrose's Life Enhancement Center. It is in existence, and it's at 2076 Nooseneck Hill Road in Coventry, Rhode Island, 02816. If you want to mail me a letter and say, hey, way to go, Glenn, or something.
it's nice in there. I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's starting to come along.
Absolutely.
But it's not there yet.
Oh, no.
Completely. And if you would like to help that cause, to help Glenn help others, and possibly help yourself as well, you can find, he has a GoFundMe page at gofundme.com, Glenn Ambrose, and or Glenn Ambrose's Life Enhancement Center, probably on there. Yeah. And you can help kickstart this, I guess it's a bad word to use right now, but jumpstart this campaign and this new business space that will hopefully help a lot of people. And
Brian, the neat thing about that too is every donation over $50 gets a matching amount in my services. So if you're local, then there's personal training, life coaching, Reiki, all that stuff in person. If you're not local, then you can still take advantage of the life coaching by phone or by Skype. So literally anybody in the world can use these services. And the gift certificates are also transferable. So if you want to give them as a gift, or somebody that you think could help benefit from some life coaching or any of my other services, that'd be great. So, it's a great way for me to help some people and also get some funds to get the business up and running.
Absolutely. And that's GoFundMe.com. search for Glenn Ambrose. That's it.
That's it. We are through. Thanks for staying with us, and we'll see you next time.
This podcast is presented by New Shore Productions. Executive producers Glenn Ambrose, Benjamin Barber, and David DeAngelis.